Good morning and welcome back to the Film School Chronicle. I am Carmelo, Keating, your host as always, and joining me again today, as every week, is Bryce. Quinn. How are you this morning, Bryce?
I'm pretty good, Melo. How are you?
Doing very well, thank you. Today we have some fellow second years at Griffith Film School. We're joined by Krathyn White and Leo Greene. How are you guys this morning?
Great.
Yep, pretty good.
That's good. That's good. Okay, so Krathyn and Leo, you guys are mature age students at Griffith, and kind of goes beyond the term of mature age because you have this whole life and career and stuff before you came to film school. So why don't you both give us a little introduction about yourselves and your background?
Okay.
Both point to each other.
Yeah, we'll go clockwise. Okay. You go. Okay. All right, Leo. Officially, my real name is Lawrence, but most people call me Leo. I'm 36.
You don't look it, by the way. No one's gonna believe you.
I never get tired of hearing
You
guys.
guys.
What have I done? Mostly worked in hospitality, but I've also traveled the world. Lived in Cambodia for 6 years, which everyone in my grade has heard a million times. Every time we have to do an icebreaker in a class.
It's a fantastic icebreaker. I'm not sick of hearing about it, by the way.
It's like, we don't know anyone else who's lived in Cambodia, so.
Oh, that's good. That's good because you haven't heard. There's 10% of the story. What else? So, I got into filmmaking kind of an accident. I was just watching lots and lots of movies, and one day, my girlfriend at the time kept on encouraging me to go back and study, and we were always talking about movies. And so one day when I was really hungover visiting a friend in Melbourne, I applied for Griffith on a whim, and then 2 days later I got in, and I was like, oh, I guess I'm going to uni now. Krathyn.
Well, I'm 44, and prior to film school, I was a journalist. And also, in addition to journalism, I kind of spent half of my kind of media career, which is about 20 years sort of in length, working for government, doing kind of media communications work for various state government departments, and got to a point where I kind of, I guess, had what you could call a midlife crisis, and quit my job. This is kind of about 4 years ago. Because I never really kind of had a break between school and uni. I went straight from school, straight into uni, straight into work. So yeah, I kind of bummed around for a couple of years, and then I guess in much the same way that Lawrence was sort of sitting around one day and went, oh yeah, I'll apply to film school. And yeah, I kind of did half the application for Griffith, and then got an email saying, oh, you haven't finished it. If we pay your admission fee, will you finish it? And I'm like, yeah, sure, of course. And so I did that. Yeah, 2 days later got in. So
I think the unis, they like having a couple of mature age students around. This is actually interesting because you were talking about we've had careers before. Krathyn's had a career. I was working in high class restaurants and stuff like that for 10 years, and I never really thought of it as a career. I felt like a lost boy. Just how, went to Cambodia for 2 weeks and stayed for 6 years, had no direction in life. So it's going to be a really interesting chat.
Well, speaking of this chat, I feel like, dear audience, we might go a little bit over time today, and I hope that's all right, because we've got two very interesting people here to talk about, and we've got so many questions for you, including a special little segment that we're starting this week, which is questions from the audience. Do you want to jump into that now?
Yeah, let's go to welcome to questions from the audience.
Yeah, we don't have a jingle yet. We may have a jingle in the future. So our first question is from Abby Rose. Now I'm going to actually ask that we get if they're first year, second year, anything. We don't have that today, and I'm not sure. Abby, I'm sorry, I've never heard of you before, so I hope you enjoy that you have your question on the show though. Which is, do you mix well with your generally younger classmates? So yeah, pretty loaded question.
Your turn to go first.
Oh yeah, I mean, that was probably one of the biggest things I found in coming back to uni at my age. It was quite intimidating, sort of, I'm kind of almost old enough to be most of the cohort sort of parents' age, and that was kind of a bit scary.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I don't kind of necessarily party and hang out with a bunch of you guys, but because I live so far away from uni in Brisbane, and yeah, you kind of already have a friend thing going down with, people you already know outside of uni. So it's not that I'm antisocial or don't want to, but yeah, work-wise though, yeah, obviously get on with everyone fine. Yeah.
It was actually intimidating coming back. I remember the very last day of O week, I was sitting behind some other students who were just coming in, listening to them talk about a 30-year-old woman they'd met and just bitching about the fact that they're like, why is she here? Oh my God. And it made me feel so, I was like, what? Oh no. But then my very first class, everyone just got along like really, really well. I don't know. You guys have been great. I don't know whether it's like a film. When I say you guys, I mean you kids.
Thank you.
No, like our first class.
It's funny. I actually was there for that first class.
Yes.
There was Story and Voice, and I remember looking over like, who's that guy with the frosted tips? What the hell's going on there?
I'm sorry, I haven't seen any photos from that stage.
Yeah, I just like my hair is boring at the moment. I need to put some color in it. No, one of our teachers was just like, she was like, you guys are so lucky to have mature age students in this class. And then I don't know whether because film is all about collaboration that we kind of, you can't like isolate yourself, and that works both ways.
Yeah.
Like we get thrown into groups together all the time.
Yeah.
We're forced to interact. And what was the question? The old man rolling for his dad.
How do you mix well with your
mix
younger
well?
classmates?
Yeah, I mean, I've been coming to the parties. It's fun. It's more of a for me. Sometimes it does. Sometimes you do feel a little bit lonely. But I don't know. It's more just because like all my friends being 20 is a little bit makes me feel like okay, like what kind of a creep am I?
Right.
Like as soon as I just came back from Brisbane and it's been a lockdown, so I haven't made my friends my own age to balance it out yet. But yeah, I feel like we get along fine.
Well, yeah, a similar question, I guess. How has experiencing the world and film after high school, but before uni, affected your outlook on university? That's a question from Jared Woods, a third-year friend of ours.
Woodsy, yeah. Oh, I've seen so many movies. How has between high school? Well, I don't know actually. I need a chance to think about this.
Okay. Well, I mean, I guess for me, two things. One thing is that the way that I approach uni is almost sort of like how I would approach a job. Right. Yeah. So I'm very kind of serious about it. But the other thing is that, having kind of, I guess by virtue of having lived longer and kind of seen and experienced more things, it does give you a different insight just into all kinds of stuff. But having said that, you also get insight from younger people that, you wouldn't necessarily have as a mature age student. And, apart from you guys, I mean, I didn't really have any contact with kind of young adults. And that's been really kind of cool and interesting just to sort of find it. Well, yeah, there are kind of really switched on cool young people.
They exist. They're around.
Some people.
I know that's a really good point because I've found kind of the same thing. I have my perspective, being like 15 years. Like, there's a couple of people at uni who I'm literally double the age of, which is pretty scary.
Yeah.
But it works both ways. Like
Yeah.
sometimes, like as a 20-year-old student, come up with these ideas that are just like kind of fresh and new and exciting. Mm-hmm. But then, as far as that question goes, like I've seen a lot of movies from a lot of different eras now. I think I found it easier to get into all the like slow, sad movies that the art movies that the uni keeps forcing us to watch.
Yeah.
Because I've had like a bigger breadth of experience with watching movies and stuff like that, and talking about like approaching uni like a job. Like actually, I think it really does help having had, like life experience in a workplace, like a decent amount, and succeeding in a workplace, because it gives you kind of a different attitude.
Yeah.
Rather
the work
than
you get
approaching
at
uni from as like a high school perspective and saying,
Yeah.
oh, I'm just rocking up, going to school.
Yeah.
You approach it from a workplace perspective. It's like, I have to go here and do the work.
Yeah.
It's I don't just have perspective of what I want to be. I also have perspective of what I want to not be.
Right.
Yeah.
Like I feel like we both hit rock bottom and then discovered the rock bottom underneath that. And I think for me, like movies have, like speaking of rock bottom, movies have gotten me through some really, really tough times. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. I have a lot of perspective for how they can, but I don't think this is unique to me as an older student. Like you can go through tough times in high school and get through with some really cool movies. I feel like a lot of horror fans have like movies that got them through really tough times.
Is that what horror's for? I wasn't. Still have no idea. Still have not gotten into horror.
Carmelo, we're going to talk about
I'll stop you there. We've got question 3 from Bridget Shanahan, a good first year friend of ours. How did you get started without a degree? So I actually don't understand the question.
In your previous
careers, yeah. You had a good degree.
Yeah, I had a nice degree with a journalism major, so that's
okay.
Anyway,
sorry, was Sarah? Was it? Bridget, I got started without a degree. I'm going to tell you how I did it. I did it by accident. It's actually not as difficult as you think, especially with like working in hospitality. You know, it's all about attitude, and I think this goes into film as well. There's a lot of crossover between hospitality work and film work. Working in step 1 is find a workplace that you're actually proud to work at. So instead of working at like just whatever shitty cafe you can find yourself a nice restaurant with nice food that you can, you know, you don't feel bad about putting on the table in front of people, because that helps bring out your passion for it. And like, if you're proud of the work you're doing, then you become a good worker.
Take pride in what you do, yeah.
And so, like, you know, choosing sets and things like that. Like, if you're going on sets and you're just complaining about it, like, obviously, when you're building up experience, sometimes you just got it because as long as you're getting something out of it, as long as you're learning. But, you know, how did you get started without a degree? Fuck, I don't know. Sorry. But just don't worry about it. If you don't have a degree, you'll be fine.
Yeah.
Look, if I'm still alive, you'll survive.
Right. Okay, so if I could answer that same sort of like survey we put out, you know, like the sort of audience questions, my one would be for you. So you guys both said that you sort of got into film school on a whim sort of idea, but now you're here. You've been at film school for 18 months, the same as us. What is it that you wanted to initially get out of film school? You know, what do you want to go into specifically with that sort of thing?
Gosh, I just wanted to be surrounded by people who wanted to talk about movies.
Have you got your dream? Have you got your wish?
Literally, no. Organising film nights with film students has been the most difficult part of film school.
Yeah.
I would accept that invite. I can't watch a movie with you, Leah.
All right.
I think you've run into the social part of, like, we run into this with D&D games all the time. Yeah. Getting adults in one place for one thing is really hard.
Getting young adults who don't have a real schedule, who don't work 9 to 5.
And also everyone lives all over the place. Like, you know, there's people from the sunny coast, Gold Coast, you know, Bayside, right out west. And it can be hard.
There's also been, like, you know, COVID
thing.
That's probably got something to do with it.
But so apart from that, do you feel like you've gotten what you're looking for at film school? Or?
I've gotten so much more out of film school than I expected to get. I could talk about this for a while. Krathyn, do you have anything to say? I've been talking for a few minutes.
Well, I guess I'd like to say that, I mean, I really kind of came to started the degree with no kind of set idea about what I wanted to do. Like, some people are like, I want to direct or whatever. But now, halfway through the degree, I think kind of where I'm interested in going is sort of like the exhibition, curatorial, academic side of things.
Right.
So, you know, kind of film festivals, you know, kind of, curation work, like, you know, like working in a place like the Cinematheque would be ideal for me. I like kind of writing and talking about film more than I think I actually enjoy making it. I don't dislike making it, but I just think sort of, you know, you play to your strengths, and I kind of know what I'm better at.
I find that really interesting, Krathyn, because like as soon as like I've known you in film school, which was back to the first class in March, pre-COVID, and everything like that.
Back in the old days.
Yeah. No, you sort of came to film school as just I felt like you were just this natural producer type.
Oh, thanks.
Sort of, you know,
Well, I mean, producing stuff is kind of fun and just almost an extension of what I used to do. I mean, I look at production like kind of project management, and you just have benchmarks you need to hit and make sure everyone's happy, and you know, you get a product at the end. But I mean, having said that too, the TV side of things interests me more than the film side.
Yeah, right.
But you know, because most of the work for that stuff is down south, like part of my career I lived and worked in Sydney for about 8 years. as a journalist, moved back up here, and I don't know if I'm like at a place where I want to move again for work. You know what I mean? Right. So, yeah.
Yeah. What do you think of the, just this is completely based on geography and just on your life experience, what do you think of the culture of Sydney versus the culture of Brisbane?
Oh, wow. They're so different. I kind of see more parallels between Melbourne and Brisbane in ways than I do Sydney and Brisbane. I mean, climate-wise, Sydney and Brisbane are similar, but Sydney's just sort of like, I don't know, a bit brash and a bit vile. And I mean, like, lots of cool stuff happens in Brisbane. It just, you kind of need to know where to look and know where to scratch under the surface to find it. It's not as obvious as Sydney kind of is. But I mean, to Sydney's advantage, they are like a world city, a global city. So like they get a lot more access to cultural things than we tend to do.
Is that including film festivals?
Yeah. And I mean, it's better here now. I mean, you can go and see like Pulp Fiction at, like kind of an indie cinema now on the weekend. You can go and see Blue Velvet,
They're showing Labyrinth soon.
Oh, fuck. Well, cool.
Funny mouth.
Yeah, but I mean, 6 of one, half dozen of the other. My family's here.
Yeah.
So,
So, Leo, you said you had lots to talk about on the subject of what did you want to get from film school? And you said that you got a lot more than you'd bargained for.
Yes, so much more. I feel like I have like direction in my life for the first time. As a 36-year-old.
Better late than never, right?
Oh man, it's such a wonderful feeling.
Yeah.
And so like I just wanted to talk about movies, and that actually did happen in the first few courses.
Yeah.
Like Story and Voice, we're watching screenings every week, talking about it, and that was so much fun. And then I they were teaching us about lights, and I was like, oh, this is cool. I want to be a gaffer. And then they taught us about sound, and I was like, oh, this is cool. I want to be a sounding. And then I got to be an AD, and I was like, this is the best job on set. I want to be an AD.
Because you get to be involved with everything.
Oh,
right?
man, it's so good.
Yeah.
So every new aspect of filmmaking, I really just got into, except for camera. I haven't really touched cameras. I think there's a lot of competition in cameras. The people who are really super excited, they can do it.
It's a tough field.
Yeah.
This is our bit of advice for the first years or younger listeners or anything like that. Everyone wants to go into camera. I'm not saying that you shouldn't, but you'll be more employable if you fill the other roles.
Do sound and lighting.
Oh man, sound and lighting is great. But I've really fallen into producing. I really love putting. I'm good at putting people together, but I've been told. And I also have this sense of been working for other people all my life. Now I don't want to wait for other people. I want to make my own work and create my own projects and create my own jobs.
Right.
People, including me, for most of my life, have always talk a lot about what they want to do. If you're a writer-director, you're going to be writing and directing your own stuff, and then you have to go out and pitch and find people to make it for you.
Yeah.
Being a producer, I get to make those projects.
And pick and choose which ones that you're passionate about.
Yes.
And then go pick those and make those a thing.
Absolutely.
Bring them to reality.
I want to see weird movies. I want to see romantic comedies written by truckies and stuff like that, truck drivers. And I want to be able to make those happen.
Nice. Right. I'm keen to see some of that later.
Great.
And I think too, Lawrence, when you have I guess a bit of prior experience just in life and whatever else, you kind of know what you don't want to do, how you don't want to work, how you don't want to behave. And that, I think, when you're producing stuff, that can be really satisfying because you can enact all of the positive things that you want to do as opposed to being subjected to negative stuff that you might have experienced prior and hopefully create an environment
know what to avoid.
Yeah.
But then another flip side of that is that when things do go wrong, I've also I've seen worse. This movie didn't turn out that well. It's okay. Nobody died this time.
This time.
It wasn't a Wizard of Oz situation.
Yeah.
No lead poisoning.
But I also I don't want this conversation to sound like I think I'm better than everyone.
No.
We're talking about the benefits of being old because we have to wake up every morning and remind ourselves what the benefits of being old. We stretch our creaking joints in the cold morning. No, it's great being old. So much of it really is just time, and experience. Just counts for a lot. Having more experiences, really, Yeah, that's the end of that sentence.
Straight off with that.
Right.
I think just quickly while we're getting towards the end of the show, do you have any advice for younger students, and that kind of includes pretty much all first, second, and third year? Any general life advice to give out?
Be open to everything. Like, don't, you might come across things that you don't necessarily, you think you might not like or might not enjoy, or, why the hell am I doing this? Why do I have to do that? Just be open to stuff.
Mm-hmm. It's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, and don't complain too much.
Yeah.
Yeah, like things will get stressful. There's a lot goes wrong in uni. Like some of our
And a lot goes
courses
wrong in
are
film production.
A lot goes wrong in film production.
What goes wrong in life?
Yeah, but you can complain about it and get upset about it, or you can just get over it.
Yeah.
So you can either bitch about what someone's been doing for the last couple of days, or you can come up with a tactic to
Make it better.
overcome it.
Yeah.
Like be proactive with that. That's it.
All right.
Thank you very much. Okay, yes, so we've come to the end of the show, it would
Yeah.
seem. So thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
It's been great having you on. I think we'd love to have you back at some point down the line, because you've been great guests. So thank you very much.
I'm
Bryce.
excited in particular to see after grad slate next year what we can talk to you guys about.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
We'll see how that goes, shall
See
we?
how we're all going in a year's time.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Bryce.
No
Thank
worries.
you, listeners, watchers, audience. This has been the Film School Chronicle.